God! Why are you all covered in blood?
Till we meet again.
So, let's see what we have here. My God! Someone really did a number on her. Oh, they ripped open her entire belly. And they didn't stop there. There must have been buckets of blood. Jesus Christ. There's hardly any blood left in her. The place they found her must look like a slaughterhouse. I should go there and take a look. Her lips are bloody, but nothing more. Tongue still in place. But if he killed her for blabbing, I reckon he'd have cut out her tongue or something, wouldn't he? These are more like chops than cuts. Somebody must have taken a sword to her. Knife wounds would be smaller, and an axe would have made a bigger mess. But it couldn't have been a long sword. That would have been clumsy. It was something shorter and nimbler. God, that madman cut off both her breasts and bits of flesh. But what did he do with it all afterwards? Did he really keep all the pieces? Nobody could be that sick, could they? Her face is a little bruised and cut, but nobody cut her there. But she has a dark ring around her neck. Was she strangled? The murderer must have had pretty strong hands, and her hair is all matted with blood and hacked off. I don't even know what colour it was. Maybe there's something more to it. What if the murderer kept her hair like some kind of sick trophy? Just some scratches and bruises, that's all.
Why you?
The killer probably surprised her. She didn't even have time to defend herself. So, the murderer must have awfully strong hands, because he strangled her and left a dark ring around her neck. Then he took a short sword or saber and started hacking at her. She's missing parts of her torso, but they are by the body. He also cut off most of her hair. He cut off her breasts, but left her tongue, then left her lying there for all to see. To send a message, maybe? Or a warning? Only if it was a warning for telltales, he would have cut out her tongue or something, wouldn't he? I don't know why he killed her, but I don't think it's because of Catherine. Are you Barbara? I'm told you knew Alice.
Alice. Aye. She was almost like a sister to me. We served together for years, in the same house. Why'd you ask? Who are you?
I'm trying to find out who did this to her. I'm afraid the killer might want to go after my friend as well.
Ah, I understand.
Who did you serve?
Our master is a local merchant. He is trying his hand at trading wine.
How did Alice get along with your master?
Fine. Just like with everyone. Our master is a bit strict, but he's fair.
What's his name? Can I speak to him?
Why? But you can't see him anyway. He's on a trade trip to Prague.
It occurred to me that maybe he could have done it.
No, he couldn't. He was gone when it happened. He hadn't been home in several weeks. And besides, why would he kill them others too? He never even knew them.
I heard about that. And also about Lumir.
Well, if you're interested, go and see him. Maybe you'll catch him sober enough to talk sense.
Do you know of any suitors she might have had?
I know she was seeing someone. Why?
I'd like to talk to him as well.
But I don't know who it was. Alice said he was rich and dressed nicely, but she promised him she'd never tell anyone his name.
And you never saw him?
No, never. I don't even know where she met with him.
Do you know what exactly happened to Alice?
No. Nobody saw or heard nothing. One day she just didn't come home. And then they found her. Like this.
It's awful what they did to her.
She was such a pretty girl. And that beautiful brown hair of hers. And it didn't even leave that untouched. Who could have cut off her hair like that? And why? None of it makes sense.
So, I'll leave you to mourn in peace now. Lumiere?
Oh. Christ, my head. Not so loud.
I need to ask you something.
I said not so loud. I have a splitting headache.
That's some hangover. He's useless to me like this. Unless I'm willing to wait for him to sleep it off, I'll have to get him some kind of cure or potion. This should sober him up. No, not that. Maybe he'll sober up by himself.
Oh.
God be with you. Keep the peace.
Do you find whistling like that fun?
Easy, good horse.
We've got enough for everyone.
Your heart
You can avoid danger. Hear what I say about the
Whoa!
the finest wares, quality goods enough to go around. Come and buy some new taste.
Easy, easy.
Got it all.
Nice and slow. Whoa!
Greetings, sir.
I brought you some food.
Sweet Jesus, I can't believe it. I must be dreaming. So much food. I'll fill my belly and even have some left over for tomorrow. Who do I thank for this feast?
For everything, thank the local guild and King Wenceslas.
Is this how the guild takes care of us? Wonderful. May God bless our King Wenceslas. God be with you, sir.
I brought you some food.
Sweet
Jesus. Oh, who
All this
is made?
God bless you, sir.
You
Call off
mangy
that
mutt.
dog, or I'll report you for being a public nuisance.
slowly. Nice and slow. Easy, easy. Nice and slow.
Did you hear? The stallion is shagging Naz's old woman.
If you know it, then so does
Praise
half the
God.
town. And that goes to Councilman Nas as well.
Of course he knows. He's the one sending him there. What are you talking about? It's gospel. They say.
This is the place.
But the old man.
There's a lot of blood and some footprints. But I'm not sure how much more I'll be able to find. Christ, that's a lot of blood. But after seeing what they did to the girl, I'm not surprised. I can't make anything out of this. The whole town's been walking around here. There could have been one killer or a dozen. I'm surprised I haven't completely trampled out the blood. I'm not sure I'll be able to find any remains. I wonder what happened to them. It's hard to make out, but I think I see some slashing from a blade. So, there's still a lot of blood left, but I expected even more. I found some faint blade marks. Either the others were trampled out, or someone skilled was wielding it. It didn't look to me like any remains were left lying around. I've no idea what he did with them. Did he keep them or throw them away? Slowly. Nice and slow. Whoa, whoa.
Already.
God bless.
I did what you asked me to do.
Great! So you robbed the chest and fed the poor?
I robbed the chest and left the cabbage in it.
Ha ha! Great work! He's in for a big surprise, the red-headed fucker. Good work. What about the beggars?
I fed as many people as I could.
You're a hero. Folk will really appreciate that, you know. They've never eaten like this before. Now, that wasn't so hard, was it? And that feeling of satisfaction. We may not be any richer, and yet...
When I need to pay a fine somewhere, I'll think of you. And it won't do me any good.
And now, let's talk about your next job. Just before I tell you more about it, try talking to Rat. I'm sure there are a few side jobs for a chap like you. And Goliath could teach you how to throw a proper punch. He's the best brawler far and wide.
You said you have some more work for me. What is it?
Well, you might have noticed there's some houses in Kuttenberg with peculiar symbols on them.
What symbols?
Kind of little markings you'd easily miss if you don't know about them. But you'll spot them if you keep your eyes peeled.
What are they for?
Before we was here, before the guild, even before Sigismund turned up, this whole place was under the thumb of another gang. They didn't have a name, and they wasn't aiming at a greater cause like us. They was mostly thieves, but it was hard to get the drop on them, on account of how cunning they was.
And they use these symbols?
They thought them up.
And what were they for, these symbols?
It was a way of marking houses. One of the crew drew a symbol to send a message to the others.
Smart idea. But what's it got to do with me?
Being able to use them symbols would come in plenty handy for us. Think of all the benefits. We tracked down one of the old gang recently. His name's Hinek, but he used to call himself Greaser. He was a bit of a know-it-all and made fun of everything. I sent Hogg to find out the meaning of the symbols from him, but I'd rather someone else kept an eye on him.
Where can I find this Hinek Greaser fella?
I'm glad you're up for it. His house is on the edge of the check quarter, near the gate. Take care, friend.
Henry, come over here.
What kind of pig was sitting here?
I don't have the wine from Sigismund's warehouse, after all.
What? Why?
I searched all over the place, but I just couldn't find it anywhere.
All right. What can be done? I'll let the buyer know he's out of luck. Farewell, sir.
Don't back.
Chenyak wants me to do something.
What does he want this time? That idiot would be better off finding himself a woman instead of thinking up damn fool shit. Let me guess. It's something real important that'll help us in our noble cause.
I'm supposed to keep an eye on Hogg, who went to find out the meaning of the old thieves' symbols around Kuttenberg.
And what do you think about it? Are you going to help him?
What do you think about it?
I think it's a great opportunity for both of us.
You think so?
Look here, friend. If you find out something about them symbols, tell me. And I mean only me. I promise you, we'll make a fortune out of it. They ain't just any old symbols. They're thieves' symbols, see? Help me out, and you won't regret it.
All right, I'll help you.
And yourself too. Mostly yourself, friend. See you soon, my friend.
Easy, good horse.
The best wine comes from Czech soil.
Whoa!
Was wünschst du, mein Herr?
What do you have for sale? I'd like to discuss the price.
Das könnte vielleicht gehen. Ja, das ist gut. Finally a good price. Danke. Das war ein gutes Geschäft.
You're seeing this?
Watch where you're going!
Nice and slow. Whoa, whoa. Lumiere? Oh. This should sober. Here. Drink up. Better?
What? Who? What are you doing here? Who are you?
My name is Henry.
And what do you want from me?
I'm trying to find out who killed a certain girl. And I was sent to you.
To me? What for?
Are you Lumiere from the Rat House? The scribe?
I used to be. Now I'm just Lumiere the Madman.
Well, you don't look crazy.
Yeah. But I am. I see things in my head that aren't real. And then I point my finger at the wrong people. I'm the biggest madman in Kuttenberg.
But I need your help.
If I were you, lad, I'd leave it be. You can't help that girl anymore, anyway. You'll just end up hurting yourself.
Come now, Lumiere.
Poor girls. Nobody was all that interested in it, except for me. We let it be in the end. We let a monster walk among us. No way. You can't solve this yourself.
I'm not doing it for myself. I'm afraid he might kill one of my friends.
A friend, eh? That's not good. Not good at all. I searched high and low. And what did I get out of it? Just mockery. What makes you think you can find out more than I did?
Because I know people, and can easily convince them. In the end, they spill their guts.
Is that so? What about me? Do you think I'll spill my guts too?
A moment ago you were moaning in pain, and now you're deliberating whether or not to tell me what you know.
All right. Talk to me. Who was this dead girl?
Her name was Alice. She worked as a maid.
A maid? That fits. Yarka was a maid too. As were most of the other victims. What did she look like? What did he do to her?
I think that he strangled her first, and then went at her with a longer blade and disemboweled her.
Did you notice the strangulation right away? It took me a while. Maybe you really will track him down.
Do you think it's the same murder?
Counting your girl, that makes 6 victims who were first strangled and then mutilated. If it's not all the same person, they must be collaborating somehow.
This is the 6th one. How long has he been killing?
Probably about a year now. Sometimes it takes him months, sometimes weeks. But I'm including missing girls, Stanya and Zdena.
Why are you counting the missing girls?
Because I think someone killed them, and we just haven't found them yet.
Did the dead girls have anything in common?
Aside from being pretty young girls with no proper family or background, no. I couldn't find much.
Do you think somebody is killing them because they're poor, and nobody will miss them?
Certainly. If somebody killed the daughter of a local lord, no stone would be left unturned.
But why does he even kill in the first place?
I don't know. Maybe he hates women. Damn it. I feel like I'm going in circles and can't get out.
What can you tell me about Yarka?
She wasn't the first. But thanks to her, people started taking an interest. She was a maid in a German family. By all accounts, she was a pious, polite girl. She was orphaned as a child. The priest from the Church of St. Peter and Paul, Father Prokop, raised her. They found her body tossed behind a barn at the edge of town. She was cut all the way from her neck downwards. An awful sight to behold.
Did you have any suspects?
At first, I thought the son from that family did it. A murderer is usually someone close, you know. But then I changed my mind.
Why?
Well, for one, I remembered the two girls before her who ended up almost the same. Besides that, when I talked to the lad, he seemed he wasn't the least bit interested in Yarka. Then his mother told me that they threw her out a week before the murder because she was a harlot who stayed out till all hours of the night. That really surprised me, because Father Prokop had vouched for her good reputation. But who knows? Maybe he just didn't want to admit what had become of her.
What about Stanya?
She was an alehouse wench in a tavern of ill repute called the Hole in the Wall.
You said her body was never found. Maybe she just got out of town.
You have no idea how much I'd like to believe that. Only there was a lot of blood. Unfortunately, the investigation wasn't very successful. The Hole is a world of its own, and the people there aren't very forthcoming with information.
Did you suspect anybody?
You could suspect every second man there. Those people have nothing but thievery and deceit in their eyes. The innkeeper, Mole, definitely knew Stanya, since she worked for him. But he isn't all that chatty either.
So if I want to learn anything more, I have to ask this mole? In the hole?
Yeah, he still runs the place.
And what about that Zdena? You said her body was never found.
Exactly. But to tell the truth, nobody spent much time looking for it. Besides Alice, Zdena was the most recent victim. It's only been a few weeks since she went missing, but I suppose nobody wanted to do any more digging.
But if her body was never found, how do you know she was killed?
Because she was the same type as the other girls. Maybe the prettiest of them all. Young, beautiful. A real live one. Lively as the devil. She was a thief. A pickpocket. I never could pin it on her, though. She always found some way to get out of it.
Maybe she robbed the wrong people and had to get out of town.
Maybe. She had a partner in crime by the name of Strunad. Quite a number. He's always sitting in the hole, boozing. When I asked him about Zdena, he told me he'd rather rip his own tongue out than talk.
Do you think he'd be more forthcoming with me?
He might be. You're not known all over town like a catchpole. It's worth a try. Besides, it might still be fresh in his memory. That would be a great help.
And what about the other two victims?
It all started with them, though nobody did much about it at the time. The first one worked as a bathhouse maid. They called her Chestnut. She'd only been in town for a short while, and nobody really knew her. So I couldn't find out anything more. But the other one, Libushka, she was from Loretz. She was a maidservant, too. I also talked to her mother. She said she was really cheerful and outgoing. There were lots of suitors circling around her, but she refused them all. She knew she was pretty and knew she could do better than some farmhand.
You mean she wanted someone higher up?
That's what it sounded like. But her mother never found out who she had her eye on.
Interesting. I'll try to see what else I can find out from the mother. Where can I find her?
In the graveyard, lad. The poor woman died of grief. It's sad to say, but we can't help those two dead girls now. And they can't help us with our investigation either. There's nobody else left who could tell us anything about them.
Why were you looking into it? Who were those dead girls to you?
I don't know what people told you about me, but for many long years I was a scribe for Kuttenberg's bailiff. Kuttenberg is a big city with a lot of people. Silver, silver, silver. Mining it, smelting it, stealing it. There's always something going on. The bailiff was always running from hell to Hades, from one rich man to another, settling their quarrels. Often trivial nonsense.
But there are more than just rich burghers and lords in the city.
Exactly. There are common folk, too. There's a lot more of them, and their troubles are usually more serious. So when one of them came to the bailiff's one time, and the bailiff was running around somewhere, I started to deal with it myself. I was pretty good at it, too.
Behind the bailiff's back?
Not really. Andreas supported my activities until recently.
What happened?
I don't want to talk about it. Sorry.
Did you have any suspects back then?
You can always find some suspect. I always dragged the most suspicious ones to the body in the morgue by force. And They threw up at the sight. Or fainted.
Couldn't it have just been an act?
Fainting? Vomiting? That's hard to act. I'd swear none of them did it.
Can you sum it all up for me?
We have 6 victims here. And I believe they were all murdered by the same killer. Unfortunately, we only know a little about the last 4. The most recent ones. By now, we won't learn anything about the first 2. Of the remaining 4, the first to be killed was the maidservant, Yarka. She was raised by Father Prokop from the Church of St. Peter and Paul. He should know the most about her. The next were Stanya and Zdena. Their bodies weren't found, but we assume they also became victims of the same murderer. They both hung around a tavern they called the Hole in the Wall. Stanya was an alehouse maid, and Zdena a pickpocket. And the last victim is Alice now, also a maid. What they all have in common is that they were young, beautiful, and brunette.
Good. I know everything I need to know.
When you learn something more, stop by and see me. You've aroused a bit of hope in me, lad. I hope you won't disappoint me.
Hey, guard. I have to tell you something. I ran into a secret band of thieves. They call themselves the Guild. They claim they're fighting against Sigismund, but all they really do is rob and steal.
Damn. That's a bit above my station. You'll have to go directly to Bailiff Plummel. If you don't find him at the town hall, he'll probably be at Geldstuck's tavern. What? Huh? So...
Good people! Hey, you!
I went to confession yesterday, and that old priest was completely hammered.
Right in the chest.
Greetings to you. Good day to you. What brings you here?
Father, I need to ask you a few questions.
I don't have time for theological discussions, my son.
That's not why I'm here. My name's Henry, and I wanted to ask about the murder that happened recently. Someone killed and gutted a young maidservant and left her body lying by the city walls. And I hear it's not the first time this has happened.
Another one murdered. May the Lord grant her eternal rest. Why is it you ask?
I fear for my sister. She's also a maid.
Yes. Fear for those close to you is commendable. What would you like to hear?
One of the other victims was a girl named Yarka. But I reckon you know that, don't you? What can you tell me about her?
About Yarka. She was an ordinary girl. She served the von Groll family.
Where did you know Yorka from?
I knew her since she was a little girl. Knew her family.
And?
I was her uncle. When my brother and his wife died, I took care of her.
Who do you think killed her?
William, that pig of Satan. He gambles in the tavern on All Saints' Day and leads the locals astray. Yarka always went there to listen to music.
Why do you think it was William? Do you have any evidence?
Evidence? He's a skirt chaser, a tool of Satan. He messes with poor girls' heads.
And does anyone else come to mind? No other man spoke with her?
No, absolutely not.
You raised her? A priest with a child?
Yes. Unfortunately, I'm not the first of the clergy to have a child on the side. At least everyone knew Yarka wasn't my own daughter.
No offense, but how did you know what to do? Without a wife, without a family? I would have been lost.
I was a bit, son. When she was smaller, it was fine, but when she grew up a bit, maybe I was too hard on her.
How does that even work? Did you have her with you at the presbytery?
When she was small, I could. But when she grew up, she had to go. It wouldn't look right.
Why do you think you were too hard on her?
Yarko was an orphan, with no family and no possessions. Her only chance of a good life was a good upbringing. And then, a husband. But the more I led her in that direction, the more she resisted me.
You're well off, though. Couldn't you provide for her?
I couldn't. Even if she had been my very own. More so, since she was my brother's.
But how come?
The church's property always remains the church's. They keep a close eye on that.
How did she rebel against you?
She wouldn't listen. She ran away. She ran around with all sorts. And how did it turn out? She died. And in sin. Such a disgrace.
Disgrace? What the devil are you talking about?
She was pregnant! Even if she had lived, what then? Nobody would want to marry her anymore.
Why don't you respect Lumiere?
That's my business. You needn't concern yourself about that. I won't tell you anything.
Come on, this is a really important matter. You can trust me.
That's just what a person I shouldn't trust would say.
Come now, Father. I'm not just asking out of curiosity. This is about all the dead girls. Isn't it written in Scripture, speak up for those who have no voice?
A layman quotes the Bible to me. Fine. Lumiere accused me of her murder.
What?
Yes. He slandered me in public.
And how... What happened then?
It turned out he was deranged. How could he even think such a thing? He's finished in Kuttenberg.
I've heard enough, Father. I'll be going.
Son, I'll give you some good advice. Don't listen to Lumiere. That man has gone completely mad.
Slowly. Nice and slow.
No chance. Where would I go? Let it go, or there'll be trouble. No one gives a fuck about what you have to say. You think I'm scared of you, fucker? Enough, damn it. Now you're gonna die.
Hey?
Oh!
Hey! Stop fighting!
Oh, come on then.
Greetings. What's that I hear? Don't hit him!
Do it.
What are you doing?
I'm sorry. Greetings, my friend.
What's new in the city?
Nothing much. If you're looking to make some coin, I don't know about anything new.
Did Estanya work here?
Stanya? Maybe. It depends on who's asking.
My name's Henry.
Names don't interest me. The main thing is whether it's a good guest or a bad guest asking. What kind of guest are you, Henry?
I'm a good guest.
Really? Let's see. Do you know how to recognize a good guest?
By the fact he spends a lot of coin?
Aye. I like talking to them kind of guests. A lot. So, what'll it be, my good man?
What if I simply paid you and you tell me what I want to know?
Ask away.
I want to know if Stanya worked here.
She did. And she don't know more. What's it to you?
I heard she disappeared without a trace. So I'm trying to find out if anyone had anything to do with it.
It's possible. The chamber she was sleeping in here was totally ransacked. The door open. Everything emptied out. And Stanya was gone. All I found were bloody footprints.
Tell me something else.
First, you'll have another beer. Or is it time to pay?
What?
If you want to ask, you have to drink. Didn't you get that?
You're quite the extortionist.
I prefer to be called an enterprising man of trade. So, what'll it be?
I don't want to pay you any more. I think you could answer my questions directly and not always try to wheedle money out of me. That makes it look like you might have some motive for keeping me from finding out anything about that murder.
Nonsense. How could you think that? Come on. Ask me anything you want.
Did anybody see what actually happened when Stanya disappeared?
No, it was at night. Nobody saw or heard anything. The tavern tends to be empty at that hour. And you won't meet many people on the street, neither.
What was Stanya like? What can you tell me about her?
A bold woman. One has to be here. Everyone's ballsy here unless you nib it in the bud right away. She was hanging around a bard for a while. I don't know how close they were, but she also had another suitor.
Someone from the city?
No, a charcoal burner. I heard he was from somewhere in the, Verchlitz Valley. I think his name was Barton?
What do you know about that bard?
What about him? He's a minstrel, a skirt chaser. What more can I say? He called himself William. As far as I know, he plays in the miners' tavern in the evenings. But sometimes he shows up here, too.
You think he might have been the one who...
Now that you mention it, he cleared out of town for a while and only came back not long ago. It could be him, all right. I know he met with some odd people and talked about God knows what. Like bloody spies. Besides, you know what minstrels are like. Lasses just flock to them. And like they say, opportunity makes the thief.
Or in this case, a murderer. Apart from those men, did anyone else know Stanya? I mean, more intimately.
Well, I got bad news for you. She had two close friends, but you won't get much out of either of them.
Why?
One was hit by a cart, even before Stanya disappeared. And she died. And the other one got married and moved away.
How did Stanya's room look?
The door was wide open. Most of her things were gone, but some remained. And there was blood all over the place.
Blood? Was there a lot?
Not so much, really. More like hand or footprints. But they were near everywhere. If someone done her in, they definitely didn't do it in that chamber.
Where can I find this Barton?
I already told you. In the Verchlitz Valley.
Could you be a bit more precise?
I don't know that bloke at all. All I know is he's a charcoal burner. So if I was you, I'd look somewhere around the charcoal kilns.
That's all I need to know. Are you Sternad? The one that went with Zdenna?
Who the fuck are you?
Just an ordinary bloke who has some questions.
Well then, piss off. You won't get any answers here. All you're gonna get here is a kick in the teeth.
Why so rash? That kind of attitude will do you no favours. Let's make a deal. You tell me everything you know about Zdenna, and I'll make sure you're no worse for wear.
Ah. You're the lord what that whore robbed. Don't worry about it. She weren't nothing but a lying bitch.
So, if I understand correctly, we can make a deal?
For the right price, I'll tell you all I know.
Is this the right price?
You fucking bet it is. Ask away and I'll tell you everything.
Where can I find Zdenna?
Aye. That's what I like to fucking know too. Last time I saw her... Well, that'd be back when she managed to fleece you.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to find her.
I can well imagine. Well, she went to Ravstein Mill. It's quite a long ways away. She had some unfinished business with some bloke called Pine. Ain't nobody seen her since then.
What can you tell me about Zdenna?
What do you want to hear? I try to keep her out of trouble, but there's just no helping some women.
So you were taking care of her?
Well, just in front of the others. Other than that, she did what she wanted. Always made her mind up and did things her own way.
So you weren't too fond of her?
Not really, no. But she did have a knack for making coin.
Did she have any friends or lovers who'd know more? Did anybody come here to see her?
Who'd come to see that bitch? She was always off somewhere, seeing someone. Although, once...
Someone came to see her?
Well, aye. Some stuffed frock came here once. All old and decrepit. He said he had some job for her. That she should leave behind her sinful life and all that shit. But he left empty-handed. She told him to go to hell.
Do you know who that priest was?
Some fucking Prokop or Pravoslav or some such shit. But that reminds me. I saw her a couple of times with another bastard. That fucking bard, William.
And could she have run away with this bard, William?
With that lily-livered fop? Well, he ain't been seen in town for some time, but I think someone was out to get him. He still don't come here no more. He plucks that loot of his in the miners' tavern. The wee shit.
What do you know about this priest?
Not much. Seems they knew each other from before, and he had some job for her somewhere, serving as a maid or something. But she weren't stupid. She told him to fuck right off.
And did he go?
Aye, indeed. He didn't look like the kind of fella that'd knock some sense into a woman. I think he just told her if she changed her mind to come and see him, or some shit like that.
And could she have changed her mind and gone to him? And that's why nobody's seen her?
No, no. She took off. I'm sure about that.
I've heard enough.
You have a kind master, eh? Matt?
It's William, right? I need to talk to you.
What is it? Do we know each other? Do I owe you money?
My name's Henry, and no, we don't know each other, and you don't owe me money. But we do have something in common. We have a lot of mutual friends.
What? What do you want of me? I don't have to talk to you.
You don't need to. I can go and chat with the guards instead. Tell them you're the one hurting those girls.
What? I don't have anything to do with any girls.
Seriously? Everybody knows about you.
That's not possible. I just came to town.
What?
Look, if you think you're going to pin something on me, you're out of luck. Leave me alone.
I apologize.
Good day to you.
Gepriesen sei der Herr.
So, you finally got your way, eh, Menhard?
Yeah. It is a great feeling after all the effort. It is to a large extent your doing, Heinrich. Vielen Dank nochmal. In token of our thanks, recognition and Freundschaft, I wish to make you a gift of this Langschwert, which I received from my Meister in Frankfurt on the day I too became a Meister.
My word. Thanks a lot, Menhard. This is a great honor for me.
You have earned it. Do not lose this Schwert or bring shame on it.
You can count on me.
And that is not all. Listen well. I also agreed with Friedrich that we will do things richtig. In Kuttenberg, we will hold a great and glorious tourney every week. Offensichtlich, as I promised you, I can teach you the art of sword fighting from now on. I show you Meister technique of handling Langschwert. Then Arne show you the basic teachings of combat stance. Arne learned a lot from me and mastered also other weapons than the Langschwert. He has much to teach you too.
A tourney? That sounds good. It will be here in the city.
Genau. It will be by the walls near to our Fechthalle, one time each week. Always with Langschwert, sword and shield and free combat in heavy armor. If you want to join, come to me. I write you down and tell you more about it. It will be good practice for you, and you can also gain good rewards and glory.
The art of sword fighting, you say? What kind of things can you teach me?
Alles. Langschwert and other weapons. Meisterschläge and technique. Or just practicing combat. Wie du willst.
What do I need more practice for? I beat the Kuttenbergers in combat, didn't I?
You know a lot, but not alles. Practice makes a Meister. And fate plays a big role and may not smile even on a Meister. Remember that. Do not be proud, be modest. Pride will come back to haunt you in Gefecht and in life. Remember that auch. And since you are in our Bruderschaft, I will teach you one echt Meistertechnik that no one else here knows. You only have to ask.
What about Arne? How's he doing?
Gut, Heinrich, gut. The local apothecary and physician Albicus did an excellent job. Arne's eye all right. His sight come back. Only scar remain. Gott sei Dank.
I'm glad to hear that. Thanks for everything, Menhart. I'll certainly come and see you sometime.
Gut. One last thing. If you are in need of a bed, you can sleep in the loft of our Fechthalle. Möge Gott mit dir sein.
I'm sorry?
Terrible.
You said you'd teach me some kind of special technique.
Ja, genau. Get ready. I will show you a special longsword technique that Meister Lichtenauer taught me. It is called Oben abnehmen. First, you attack your opponent's head. If he blocks your strike, attack his face as if you were trying to stab him. If he deflects your blade to the side to defend himself, move your blade around his and cut his head open. If you do that in an unexpected direction, your opponent will have little time to react, and you will strike him well. Komm, let us practice zusammen. Ja, ja. Das hast du gut gemacht, mein Freund.
Standing over the body. What a fucking...
What is it?
Are you whistling just for fun?
Calm down. Surely there's a reasonable explanation for this.
You could stick your reason up your ass.
What's going on here?
As you can see, something slaughtered all these cows.
Not just something. It was that creature from hell. I saw with my own eyes how it fled back to its hole in the mine.
Give it a rest, would you?
I won't. What'll happen when that monster comes for us next?
Seems we've been fortunate running into you then, eh?
I'm Henry of Scallis.
I'm Marion, the local priest. You look like someone who knows how to fight and isn't scared off all that easily. Just the kind of man for the job.
Tell me what happened from the beginning. What killed those cattle?
I was in my cottage when I heard such strange noises. It made my skin crawl. So I went out and saw this. And that beast what did it running away. How am I supposed to make a living now? These cows were my most treasured possessions.
What sort of strange noises did you hear? Can you describe them in some way?
It was like someone dragging chains along the ground. Neither men nor wolves make them kinds of noises. And demons carry chains so they can catch sinners with them. Everyone knows that.
And what about you? Did you hear it too?
Unfortunately, no. I was in the church when Vladimir sent for me, saying they'd found those carcasses.
Didn't you say you saw someone running away from here?
Not someone, but something. A monster from hell itself.
Just an old wives' tale.
I swear by all that's holy, the beast ran from here straight back to the old mine.
What did the beast look like?
I only saw it from afar. But before it got lost in the thicket, I saw its giant pointed snout.
Couldn't it have just been an animal? Maybe a wolf or a boar?
Can't you see my poor girls here? What kind of wolf would leave wounds like these? Oh, and the monster ran on 3 legs.
3 legs?
Aye, as sure as my name's Vladimir.
You mentioned a pit of hell. Is that located somewhere around here?
That's just a local fable.
It's no fable. In the days when silver was mined here, terrible misfortune took place in the mine. A pit to hell itself opened up there.
The mine shuttering fell apart and the gallery collapsed. That's all.
Shuttering my arse! It was a pit to hell! Shuttering don't just blow up on its own. But hell didn't scare good old Father Richard, so he set off into the tunnels and struck a deal with them demons. Ever since then, we brought food to the mine for them every second Sunday, and they leave us in peace in return.
Father Richard was a crackpot. You're lucky to finally have a normal priest here now.
A priest who forbade us from bringing the offerings, and now you can both see where that's got us.
Has anyone actually looked around in the mine?
Only old Father Richard. Nobody else has ever had the courage. The very mine shaft stinks like hell itself. So we only ever lower a bucket down with the offering, and then clear off quick.
After the cave-in, the miners left to work in Grund. It seems they'd no longer felt the vein was worth the trouble here.
When did all this happen?
It's got to be at least 5 years now.
And you've been taking food there ever since?
That's right. And nothing's ever happened until now, all because our new priest here forbade us from bringing offerings.
Where's Father Richard now?
He returned to his maker not long ago, and now I preach here in his place. The moment I caught word of that foolish superstition, I put a stop to any offerings.
And you can see what that caused.
It's only happenstance. This isn't the first, nor the last time that wolves dare to venture into town.
Vladimir's right. It doesn't look like it was the work of wolves. I don't know what could have done it, but wolves don't make those kind of wounds.
You hear that, Father? And that's coming from someone who's been out and seen the world.
Tell me something about yourselves, so I know who I have the honor of speaking to.
Like I said, I'm Marion, and I come to Old Kutna to preach.
Aren't you, a bit young for a preacher?
I finished my trivium at Prague University last year, and I wanted to continue. But my father decided I'd had enough education and found me a place in the order in Sedlets. So now I implement my theological learning in this lovely county as a preacher.
I'm Vladimir, the mine foreman. I'm the eldest of everyone here, and the people actually respect me, unlike our this here preacher from Prague. And them cows were mine.
This whole thing is very odd. How do you want me to help?
The massacre of those cattle is a horrible thing. But the heresy that's been tolerated here on account of the former priest is even worse.
Old Father Richard would chase you out of town, you stuffed frock.
Marion may be young, but he's still a priest, and he deserves a bit of respect.
Thank you, Henry. Since you're the only one here uninvolved, I'd like you to go into the old mine and discover the truth of this old wives' tale.
And while you're there, take some peace offering with you. Otherwise, I wouldn't even dare going.
What am I to do with you? All right. Henry, take their offering with you as well. You'll do just as those wretches did before you, and then wait to see if any demons show their faces or not.
Wait for demons? You want to send the poor fella to his death?
Don't listen to him, Henry. Faith in God will protect you. But before you go through the mine, we'll have a look around the village. Then we'll all meet at the entrance to the mine.
All right, I'll help you. But what about the offering?
A bit of food will do. Here you go. We always lowered the food down in a bucket. The main thing is not to go down the shaft yourself, lest you anger hell.
Don't be frightened. It's just an old shaft.
You'll find it to the west of here. The whole area's deserted and most of the entrances are blocked off. You go past the mine buildings until you reach the one that's collapsed to the ground. The mine entrance is next to it. Good luck, lad. You're going to need it.
God be with you.
Go!
Quick!
Go!
Oh!
Curva, how did you find it? It doesn't matter. You're not leaving this place alive.
Sick!
Fucking fuck! Now you fuck.
Here! Sit and stay.
Halt! Who?
What the fuck happened here?
Well, he had a fall.
A fall? He just fell over all on his own and ended up like this?
On his own, honest to God. Fell over and died right before my eyes.
Oh, Jesus. Tell me everything from the beginning.
Well, Chenyek sent me to go and ask about them symbols. Polite like. Only this bastard started fucking with me.
And what happened next?
He was laughing in my face, giving me all sorts of riddles. So I lost it and gave him a bit of a slap. Only he caught another one from the table on the way down and it ended up like this.
Chenyek had a hunch this might happen. Did you find out anything about the symbols, at least, before this?
When I start seeing red, I don't ask no questions.
Do you remember anything, at least? Anything?
Well, he talked to me in riddles. So I tell him I ain't no little kid, and to talk to me normal like.
And then?
When he saw the smoke coming out of my ears, he said he'd show me some important parchment, but that annoyed me even more. Do I look like a fucking scribe?
Was there something written on it?
Well, how should I know? I gave him a slap, and that was that. Take a look at it yourself. I reckon you got a better head on you. Quick, search him. Well, can you read it? I can't read. Take a look yourself. So, Did you read it?
Yes, but unfortunately for you, it's another riddle.
Oh, Della!
Something about a vineyard and running water. I can't make much sense of it.
The bastard! He's fucking with us, even from beyond the grave!
Well, it's our only lead to find out anything about the symbols.
Oh, I don't have the noggin for this shit, Henry. Chenyek has the quickest wit of all of us. If you can't crack it, you can ask him. But please, don't tell him nothing about me.
Easy, easy. Nice and slow.
Good day to you.
I talked to Knuckles about the symbols.
Let me guess. He wants to use them to get rich.
Well, yes, actually.
That's Knuckles for you. But I think he'll eventually understand it's better to think of the bigger picture than just himself. Nevertheless, until you find something out about the symbols, come and see me directly.
Hinek gave Hogg a peculiar riddle, and we can't quite figure it out.
Old Greaser was known for those. Tell me then, what did he say?
A vineyard in the town. Strange, but who knows? And yet there it is, quite nearby, by the water that gushes. Now listen and try to keep your eyes open so that you can tell. Shortly after the midday bell, you'll find us where the shadow goes.
Sounds pretty mixed up to me. A vineyard. I only know the one outside of town, but Riddle mentions one inside of it. It must be something similar to a vineyard, and the part with the water might be a well? Or maybe a fountain?
Well, thanks. I'll see what I can do. I don't have any...
All right.
I'm interested in the...
Plato.
The guild.
Right, general. But if...
Tell me about...
Don't you... All right, I stood and...
You...
Agree. Then the...
Could you...
You're... There's not... Except...
Why is this all sticky?
Slowly. Nice and slow.